Hello friends, welcome to Akul Mac Live, and I'm Chandrakant, your friend, and today we have a very interesting subject to talk about, and that is about the fake guru theories which may not be applicable to you, and things like the fake positivism which again may not be applicable to you. And there are many things, you read a lot of these training programs and you try to follow them without knowing whether they are going to be workable solution for you or not. So in today's discussion, I will be joined by my mentor from UK, Mr. Gaunt, to discuss this very important subject. I will join you after a short break. Don't go anywhere. It'll be a very nice session today. Hello, Neville. Good morning. How are you doing today? Neville, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, CK. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are we all? It's Monday morning, and we've got a very interesting subject for you today, as CK said. And it
follows on from another discussion we had very recently about unconscious bias. Well, we're not going to start on that today. So suffice to say that our unconsciousness takes over when we start to listen to what someone's saying. Whether we like them, we like the look of them, we like what they're saying, we think it might be applicable to me, and then they bring me into this false sense of security of I go and do something as a result of my unconscious bias. But we're not going to talk about unconscious bias today. We're going to talk about the guru arena, the thought leaders, the positivity that people focus on, but maybe it's not for you. So over to you, CK.
Thank you so much, Neville. We had a little bit of technical challenge in the beginning, but I think we are back on track, thanks to the technology. And viewers, we are live right now, and whichever corner of the world you are, if you are watching, you can actually indulge with us with the chat function in your social media platform, wherever you are dialing in from, and we will take your name and respond to you immediately. All right, Neville. So the question today is, if I read a very good book like Warren Buffett's, one of the bestsellers, I learn a lot of these things and I get glued to the book because I forget my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I want to finish that because I'm learning so many good things about life, success, business, so many things. And I want to learn all that. I want to get that knowledge into me so that I will be successful. So after, reading that book continuously, sacrificing everything else in life, I implement those things and only to realize that none of those tips and tricks are working for me. What do you think is the reason for that, Neville?
Well, there's a very clear reason for it, and we all know what it is. It's because Warren Buffett is giving you his experiences, what he's done, how he worked them through. And the book it's a brilliant book, by the way. I recommend everyone get it. We're not on commission here, so but it really is a brilliant book. And just like you, CK, I couldn't put the book down, really. I wanted to finish it because it kept drawing me in and drawing me in and drawing me in. And that's what good books do. But you've got to recognize that it was about him. And if you're like him, and if you do what he's suggesting you do in your context, then you'll be as successful as he is. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I mean, these things do work. They're processes. He's showing you a process. But the point is, he's making it very clear it's his process. If you adopt and adapt his process into your context, then you'll find a way to make it work. But unfortunately, we all think I'm going to read this book and I'm going to be successful. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, because it doesn't matter what book you read or what book's written for you. It's all about what you do in your context. And I can't stress it more than that, really. It's your context. And for instance, CK, you've got a context. I mean, you enjoyed the book. Did you apply any of the ticks, as you call them, tricks and tips? Because they end up being tricks and tips because they've really worked for him, but you've now got to apply them to your arena. So any of those you picked up, you don't have to be specific, that actually work for you, CK?
To be, my surprise, none of those tips and tricks or ticks, as you said, worked for me, because I'm doing everything by the book. Everything, whatever is explained in a book of success, I'm doing that, but I'm not getting any success. I think that was my, maybe it is not working for me. Maybe I'm not doing something right. Maybe Warren Buffett is expert. I need to probably reach to that level for that solution to work for me. So all those things happened, and none of those tips and tricks work for me, Neville.
Well, I can understand it, because again, you've got to remember where Warren Buffett comes from. He comes from the finance world, from investment strategies, from money, and it's money making more money. So in some respects, I'm not surprised they haven't worked. However, let's go back to the fact that they're a process. So let me introduce a few other so-called gurus that are out there, because I've got a bit of a blind spot. And it's not a blind spot because I know it's a blind spot, if you're with me. It's my unconscious bias to the terms that are currently used in this world of personal development. The gurus, the influencers, and people that are known for a term that's been created by somebody, and they've fitted into that term. And let's look at one, for instance. Let's look at Jeff Bezos. Now, most people wouldn't say that Jeff Bezos is a guru, but he's an influencer. And you need to look at his transition over the last 10 or 12 years, because 12 years ago, we didn't even know who the guy was, frankly. We may have seen some articles that were written about him in the Harvard Business Review, or maybe in one of the newspapers, and we would have known him as the CEO of Amazon. That's what we would have known him as. But look at him recently. He's suddenly become an expert on space. He's suddenly become an expert on AI. And all of a sudden Amazon have now shot up the charts. And we're now not talking about Amazon, the company, we're talking about Jeff Bezos. So you've got to look at the transition, and this has been quite deliberate, by the way. This is no accidental path that they've put Jeff on, and it's done with all of the big organizations that are out there that rely upon you now knowing about Jeff Bezos, the person, and there's a reason why. Can you think of one reason why we're all of a sudden in the last maybe 3 or 4 years, we've heard about Jeff Bezos more than Amazon?
I think from my small knowledge that I have on this subject, I think he's the influencer, and there is a whole machinery, PR machinery of Amazon, which is working full time, maybe overtime sometimes, and trying to project him as one of the influencer, and his brand name is influencing the Amazon brand name. I think that is what I can think of. But again, I think you are talking about influencers. Again, this is something which is a big confusion, because influencers also don't rub up their brand to others, isn't it, Neville? I think that is what I feel.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, CK. And we've never really talked about this before, but immediately your thought process is going to that position. It's about these influences. Who are they? How big are they? Are they really influencing my decisions? Are they turning me off or turning me on? And again, we're going to be talking, we're dipping into unconscious bias here. But the point is, it's a transition. So another transition, okay? I can remember in the early, late 1980s, as many of you know, I come from the oil and gas industry, and there was the biggest human disaster in the oil industry called Piper Alpha. It was in the North Sea. And the thing just blew up. Unfortunately, lost many lives. And immediately, the leaders are put into the spotlight. They're put into interview arena. And there's a very famous chief exec of the main company that was running that oil rig, and he was flown over from America and put immediately into the spotlight. No preparation, absolutely nothing in front. No PR training, absolutely nothing. And it was a disaster. The share price of that particular company was dropping like a very heavy rock. And it fell even further once the chief exec got on front of the TV. Because now you're seeing the emotional side of the chief exec. You're actually asking questions of, can this person run a company? Is he emotionally connected? Is he too emotionally connected? And all those things were going on in your head. And what happened was share price drops. So as a result of that, a lot of people in the oil industry said, we need PR training. We need PR because this is not a one-off. This is going to happen. This is a real jolt to the system. And all of a sudden, most of the large companies, in fact, all of the large companies and most of the smaller companies started to get PR training. So much so that a lot of BBC presenters were earning lots of money, come and do PR training for the oil and gas industry. Now, it wasn't headline news, so you wouldn't have heard about it, but I was involved in it. And I had that PR training. And it was amazing what these people said. Smile at the camera, take the emotion out of it if you can, and this was weeks and weeks and weeks of training. And this is where some of these gurus get it from. These influencers, they are given lots and lots of training. Apart from some of them that say, I've never had a moment of training in my life. Well, that's a load of rubbish, because they've certainly sat in front of a camera and they've asked for feedback. And that indeed, it may have been live training on the spot, but believe you me, it was training. And we see it today. We see it in some of the best people in the world that we can relate to. And we also see it on Instagram and YouTube. We see people that we can immediately relate to and we follow. And all of a sudden, these people become experts in anything you can think of. Oh, I was sent this the other day and this is wonderful. And it does this and this and this and this. And we fall for it, hook, line and sinker, because we like that person. We relate with that person. We believe that person. And then we go and buy the good. It's called celebrity advertising in many respects, because that person has become a celebrity. So you affiliate with that person. And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's what humans are. If you like someone, you tend to go and gyrate towards them. But the key for this is it's about you. It's about your journey. It's about your context. And going back to the Warren Buffett example, it's a brilliant book. Don't get me wrong. And there's lots of people that have said they've turned me, it's turned me into a millionaire. And my response to that is, it didn't turn you into a millionaire. You turned yourself into a millionaire because you were influenced by the book. You decided to do it by the book. That's where the phrase comes from. Do it by the book, and you'll get it right, But it's not necessarily a rule for everybody, and you've got to apply those rules to you. And if you read a number of books and take all the little nuggets out of each of these books and apply them to your context, your world, where you are, where you live, I'll guarantee you'll be successful. And that's a guarantee, 100% guarantee. How about that for a guarantee, CK?
I think we can debate on that, Neville, but there is a comment from one of our viewers, and he's given this comment from the Facebook platform. And it's Amit who says that this is incredible, great insight and valuable sharing. He truly appreciates, the discussion that we are having here, and he says, keep it up, keep it igniting. So this is the comment from one of our guests. Neville, you want to say something here?
Well, the thing is, it's hit a nerve, Amit, and the all we're trying to explain to you is, just like you, we're human too. We're affected by all this stuff. I mean, I'm affected by some of the biggest thought leaders in the world, but you've never heard of them because they only exist in my world. And some of the best people that have advised me over the last 5 years are 4-year-olds. Because I've just observed what they've done and what they've said. Now, are they going to be thought leaders in the future? Would you know them as thought leaders? I hate the term, by the way, all these labels we apply to everybody, but they've just opened my mind. And the point is, now is the opportunity for you to open your own mind whenever you're watching anything, whether it's a movie, that the director has really put a lot of time into trying to make that point come over and this point come over, or a TV show, or the weather, or anything really, or even your own family. It's what inspires you to take action. And that's where, I'll go back to the Warren Buffett arena, because he wrote the book not to make money. The guy doesn't need money. He wrote the book to inspire others to take advantage of their own situation. And I met the guy many years ago, and he absolutely loves this stuff. He's not driven by money. I'm not too sure. He said he was when he was younger. And frankly, I think we all are when we're younger. We're all driven by money because it's what we see money as. We see money as happiness, money as a solution. I'd like to buy that yacht or that house or that castle, or that PS game or whatever it's going to be, no matter what you're driven by. But if you work that out, you're actually driven by a goal, and money is just a medium along the way. So again, you can be very smart with yourself if you're driven by goals. But when you do the goal bit, remember, you need to get all the goals in a line. So there may be an end goal, but have little levels that you can celebrate every time you meet that part of the ultimate goal. And not surprisingly, the ultimate goal will change, because you'll be pretty surprised at how quickly you knock off those little goals early on. But as I say, my comment is we just need to spark the thought process inside everybody. And that's really, what I've been doing for the last 20 years, frankly. It's you're the power, not me. I'm just helping you find the spark or ignite the spark inside you. We've ignited the spark inside you, CK, on occasions, haven't we?
Absolutely, Neville. And Amit Singh, thank you so much for being our patron, and we appreciate your involvement and coming over to our show regularly. Thank you so much. If you have a question, just shoot it out and we will take that question as well. So you talked about having a small goal, Neville. Everyone wants to become a Black Knight, Batman. He's a playboy during the day and a vigilante during the night. So for that, it will not come cheap. You have to be a multi-billionaire. So that if that is the goal, you want to become a playboy in the day and vigilante in the night, you need a lot of money. But I think let's go back to our discussion, which is the next question that I want to ask you is about the positive thinking gurus, which are dime a dozen now. There are every second update which is happening on the social media is, hey, I am the positive guru. If you listen to my music, you will become positive minded. So is it really working? I think in my opinion, it may not be working, but is it working for everybody? Is it the same rule applies to everyone? What is your opinion?
Well, the simple fact is it works for them. And because it works for them, they want to share it with everybody else. Like, for instance, music. Music is a very common medium. I don't know anyone that doesn't like some form of music. And the question is, if music really makes you feel positive, then, get involved. Just do it. I know my wife has the music on in the background, and sometimes she's listening to it, but subconsciously she's always listening to it. And it's that mood, it's the mood music. And if it makes you feel positive and wants you to take action, then my simple answer is just do it. But there are a dime a dozen so-called positivity gurus out there. And most of them, I would say, are well-meaning. They really want to sort of help other people. They're not looking at financial gain. But sometimes the ones that are looking at financial gain are the ones that are trying to push a little bit too hard and perhaps coming over a little too smartly, just a little too clever. But my advice to anyone out there is take the vibe from anywhere. Doesn't matter who it is. I mean, we wrote a book called "Is Your Mind Fit for Golf? The Missing Link to Your Success." Now, this was written for golfers because it said, "Is your mind fit for golf?" But the interesting thing is, a lot of people have come back to us and said, well, this applies to my life, my whole life. And I said, yeah, but you listened to the book, you read the book because it was about golf, and you thought this will improve your golf. And indeed, it has improved your golf. But you're a smart individual. You've recognized, actually, by following some of the process we show you, and applying it to your life. And this is the key element to it. It's your application. And until you've got your application, it's never going to work. And that's another guarantee, 100%. So people that have read our book called "Is Your Mind Fit for Golf?" If they're a golfer and they've applied what we've said, we give a guarantee that they'll improve. How much they improve depends upon how much they practice. Because as we often say, any practice makes permanent. It's the right practice that makes perfect. So if you want to practice, you want to be better at something, like playing the piano, there's no point in practicing all the keys in the wrong places. You need to practice all the keys in the right places, because then the music will sound good. And over time, by more practice and more practice and more practice, it will get better and it will sound something like music. But we've all heard of, a baby playing the piano, we all go, oh yeah, that's brilliant, wonderful. We encourage the baby. It was probably horrible to your ears, but we encourage the baby trying to play. And that's the whole point. You've got to encourage yourself to play, because ultimately it is a game. And if you get good at the game, then you're going to beat everybody else. I hope this is all making sense, CK, because again, this is not rocket science. It's all about your world and about what you do.
Well, I think the last subject we have kept deliberately very, very important, which is the change management. Such a big arena. you come to me, I will give you this matrix. If you follow tick mark 1 2 3 4 5, your company is going to transform. So I am the change manager for you. There are so many change managers. In fact, there are 20-year, just started your career just last month, and they're also change managers. There are so many now. You don't know which one to pick. So what is your opinion on this particular label? Since you said you don't like labels, what is your opinion on this one?
Well, from positive guru to thought leader to change manager, yeah, there's thousands of change managers, millions of so-called change managers out there. I'm a change manager. I've been in change management all my life, frankly. I used to be called a troubleshooter. There's another label that, frankly, just what does it mean? It doesn't mean, it means something to some people and nothing to others. But let's try to give people advice as to, if you're trying to grow your business, who should you be going to? Who is this person or group of people that you need to be going to help you grow your business? Well, the first thing is you need to look in the mirror, because you're the one that has to change. And no matter how many coaches, mentors, counselors, whatever you're going to call them, that come in and so-called come and help you, you're the one that has to change. So you are the first change manager that's important on the list. And you need to ask your question, are you prepared to change? And a lot of people will say, yeah, of course I am. And then my next question is, prove to yourself that you have changed in the past. So you've taken advice in the past and you've changed immediately, because the likelihood is you haven't. You've tried it didn't work. Then you've gone back to it and it worked a little bit better, but frankly, you didn't really make the change happen. And it had nothing to do with the change itself. It had everything to do with your commitment to change. And it's really easy to remember commitment to change because it's 2 C's. I like to say in one letter of the alphabet because it's a lot easier for people to remember it. But you need to have the courage to change. You need to be committed to change. You need to be calm during change. And again, these are only just one letter of the alphabet. And it happens to be the same letter as change. So C's. So there are hundreds of thousands, millions of so-called advisors, gurus, change managers out there. Who's right for you? Well, the question is, firstly, look in the mirror, make sure that you're ready to change, because then it helps that person, whoever that person is, come in and helps you change. The next thing is just look at their track record. Just look at their experiences. Ask for feedback from people that they've worked with. I mean, interestingly enough, as I said, some of my best advisors in the past 4 or 5 years have been 4-year-olds. So what's their track record? Their track record is what you see them do. How they're doing things, how they're getting over things. And the point I'm making is some of this is free. And it's free because all you got to do is open your eyes and start listening properly and looking at things. I mean, go on to TED Talks. There's thousands of TED Talks that are out there, and they're all pretty good. But remember, they're talking about their world. You now need to make that shift into yours. There's a phrase in Business 101, as I call it, is any fool can develop a strategy, but it's only the smart people that execute it. So the question is, are you smart? And that's maybe the question of the day, CK. Are you smart?
Absolutely. I think on this positive note, we can end our discussion. I think the only advice that we can give from this discussion today is believe in yourself and check whether the strategy which has been given to you works for your environment, whether it is workable in the first place. Can you do it in the first place? I think these are some of the things that Naval has given us today. And thank you so much for giving all this information so that the people become more savvy, more intelligent, and go to these people who are influencers, positive thinkers, positive change managers, etc., and so on and so forth. There are so many. So I think the key is that you can think about yourself, as Neville said. Neville, I will catch up with you, and we will find some other interesting subject to discuss. And thank you all viewers for indulging with us, watching us, giving us feedback. It is very, very important. I will catch you in the next episode of A Cool Mic Live. Until then, I like to say goodbye.